Singapore.
Hi, Fanny.
Hi, good morning. Just waiting for them.
Good.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So let's start the meeting with going through the action points. So, okay, I will start with my.
Hey, can anybody shut down the speaker, please? There's some echo here.
Yeah, my microphone's muted.
Mine was. We'll meet again in a second.
Hello. Okay. Okay. So the corporate travel insurance. So the new HR officer finally did research on some Australia travel insurance policies and shortlisted some. So she will discuss it with Anita and we'll make the final decision very soon. And also for the travel insurance for Seth. Well, actually, I suggested the Zurich insurance for you, for Seth. But the Caroline, the new HR officer, said that the plan is not very good, and she is looking for some better insurance for you. So yeah, so I will make decision very soon, maybe next week. I hopefully next week. And then the next action point is Okay.
Just
Yep.
as you go through those, could you update the dates of when? So that we've discussed it on the 5th, so we need an update for the next meeting, which is on the next Wednesday, right?
Next Wednesday. Okay. Next Wednesday. Okay. So, and the next one is the Marine Tech one. And I received no update from TDC because, as I said last week, they will inform me on 19th of April. So I will wait until 19th of April. So I will discuss it after 19th of April to give you a date. And then the last one is the update Red My Ticket. Okay, so I spoke to Sarah last week, and she said it's better for Shane to discuss with Peter regarding a release program. But she's already sent me 2 hardware, and I already sent the 2 hardwares to Singapore office. And it already arrived at Singapore office, so Shane, you can pick up the hardware on Monday from the Singapore office.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my action points. I finished my action points. Oh, and I'm working on the Sea Asia information list. So I will send to Teresa and Shane by the end of today. So you know where to, the contractor list. So the name of the contractor and the telephone. So in case you have any questions, we can just call them.
So, I got a question.
Okay.
Do we have to update the DVDs in order for the corporate?
You mean the PowerPoint?
Yeah, the PowerPoint.
Chris already sent the PowerPoint to Shane, right?
Okay.
Shane. And but
We've got that one and also the one that Peter gave us yesterday.
Oh, all right.
Teresa, so I've got one, but we don't actually have them on a disc. I think is that what you're asking?
we don't have this yet.
We could put them on a USB.
Yeah, we need some of
check.
the animation stuff we can broadcasting.
We have the
see more.
PowerPoints.
Oh,
only.
PowerPoints.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just going to be a running PowerPoint. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All
There's
right.
no animated version.
And yep. And Ashay, I will pass your email to the gallery, so to make sure they know where to pick you up.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Hey, Christian, just
Yep.
we send down the Mac Mini.
I will pass to
Teresa.
I
Teresa,
will do it. Yeah.
and she will take to Singapore.
Okay.
Yep. So I have finished my action points. So who's next? Anyone?
Okay, Teresa, do you want to go for yours?
Yeah. The CEO's meeting. Shane, I believe Shane has been scheduled a couple of the meeting. I'm still continuing to calling the customer for the scheduling, and for the CS issue, CS teams will present to the CEOs next week. We have to discuss internally, and we plan out the couple of the issues we have experienced now. So Darren's will be computer the PowerPoint today, and I will run through it again later on, and we'll get my team to present to CEO next week. For the improvement for the whole CS procedure, so I haven't got a chance to talk with Richards. Probably when he comes to Hong Kong, we can sit down together for the whole team. Because Joseph and Darren's got a lot of the ideas how we can improve, so we probably can sit down and talk through further in details. What else? Anything, Darren?
Just comment on that, Teresa. With the fact that you've got the CEO coming in next week,
Yeah.
is there any way that your team and Richard could get together and review that with an objective of coming up with 5 or 10 key bullet points for suggested improvements?
Yeah, we agreed, we, Joseph and Teresa had a meeting, and we came up with some improvement points. So we are looking to meet next Monday, but I'm not sure if Richard would like to or is free to join, or maybe we can discuss beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We're open to anything.
So I think we should probably see if we can do that bit of review on the times in what's it called, CMS, before we do that. So maybe you and I, if we look at a meeting, maybe just trying to think what time it would be for you. I guess later on Monday. Maybe you and I can pull that information out of CMS and maybe just have a quick look at it before we all get together, because I think that's related.
But Monday I will be in Singapore. Can we do today's later on?
Yeah.
Just quick chat, sir, with the whole team. So.
So staff meeting later.
Sorry, Shane?
There's no staff meeting later now today.
Yeah, thanks for showing that, Shane. That was at 7:30 at night.
Sorry, Richard. Sorry, no, sir.
So, Isaac, can we go for about 3 or 4 hours time?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll see if I can get some stuff out of CMS. Should be able to.
Okay.
Cool. So can we put a, that's going to be ready, just put a date on that last item there, right?
Okay.
This week got nothing much to update apart from Impact China. Because we are having a discussion with them, for the distributorships, and the agreements, the draft agreements, is with that one of the managers, but she's pretty hopeless. Obviously she doesn't understand the agreement at all. We keep on talking about the stock orders. She's just wasting his time. But we are going to meet with David Watts, the boss here, next week. While Andrews and Peterson's in town, hopefully, we have a face-to-face discussions and get some, important things sorted, and we get things signed off by end of next week. Yeah. But at the moment, Intech is the ASC. They are not going to, on the agreements. It doesn't mention anything about the MAP 2.0 because this is the group agreements which we need to follow the head office, which this draft agreement is drafted by Duncan.
So that's a waste of time then. We're not going to do any sales for it.
Well, at least we got the SSAS and also the FM as well. But when the MAP 2.0 is launched, we will do the amendment contract.
Hey, can you put it on the task list?
Sorry.
What is that?
What is that?
Put it as a task.
Put it as what? Say again, sorry?
Put it as a task.
Okay, yeah.
Did you contact Skywave about getting this draft letter for regulation?
He sent it to me already. I said to Albert last week, not a few days ago, I said, we need this letter, and then he sent me the what is it called, the TA, the type approval letters, and I said to him, we don't need that one because we already have that, So he asked his colleagues to send me draft letters, It's in my mailbox. I'll look at it later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yep, okay. I'll go next. Just going to look through the actual points, I guess, we're underneath. Point 5. Now, with regards to S5, I think, like I said last week, this is probably closed because we were given information on the hardware after it was evaluated, and also the service, which is all documented under the competitor analysis. And the sales also scope to do discounts, as I've had to do with Slide Pacific. There's a couple of smaller customers that they're looking at, as I've mentioned. So that's really closed off, I would say, that one. Ian.
So that's number 5, right?
Yeah. We've got the stuff now that was given to us sort of the week or 2 weeks after we got back from the UK. That's why I sort of updated with that comment. So.
Okay, just a comment on when we close stuff off, just for when you issue the next action points, could you just issue it with a new date and remove the items that are completed, because we have those back on the earlier versions.
Okay.
So the next one, those Redmine tickets. Well, of course, there's still a number of this. Well, this is really ongoing as well. Some of those projects that were put in there, as it's been said, were shouldn't have been. They're all following the certain cases that they're involved with. But again, this is just really, this is always going to be ongoing, I would have thought.
I think there's an issue coming out there, Shane and Zap and Richard, that Redmine is not a project management tool. And it's a point to take up with Peter. You've got this issue, for example, of what do we do with the VMS type approval program now for DKP, and the fact that we have position transfers and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you can get a bit of a joint view on what you need in terms of being able to manage these issues related to sales.
I think it's probably a little bit, it's a big issue because, this stuff goes in Redmine, this stuff goes in Salesforce, this stuff goes in CMS, and then stuff gets escalated from CMS into Redmine, and quite often it's a question of never the twain shall meet again. But it's really, as you say, it's about project management, and frankly, right now we don't have a tool that we can manage a project with. And I think it's a bigger issue than just Asia Pac. But from what I hear from folk in the UK, nobody's happy with Redmine. Even the developers are saying they're not happy with it because there's too much stuff in there.
Yeah, there's just so much going in, and that's the thing. Nothing sort of meets up Salesforce CMS. The sales are busy, logging and planning everything up there, and you see what comes out of UK better with what we're supposed to be doing. But it's like other ones are talking about doing more now with these other lost customers and all that information. It's just that you must be able to use one tool or something for everything. For us, for sales, it's really Salesforce. We watch and monitor what's happening within Redmine for certain cases, for instance, like the the 2500 case, add to that. But apart from that, it's only the ones that are watching, really. And the ones you create, like if we have to do one now for the VMS type approval for DKP.
Seems that's the only tool we have at the moment. So again, if you and Zap and come up with 5 or 10 key bullet points for both Peter and Andrew in terms of those processes and improvements you need to see to help the sales or the project implementation or the delivery of sales. And if Redmine's a problem, flag it when you have those discussions.
Yeah, okay. Alright, moving down. Okay, going down to number 16. I'll be, as Teresa said, just finalising a number of meetings for Andrew and Peter. About 90% of it's basically confirmed now. So I'll update everything later today with the calendars and send out a list to both Andrew, Peter, as well as you, Ian. I haven't scheduled you in for much, to be honest, but you're welcome to join any of those to think or you'd like to.
No, I'm floating, so that's cool.
The only one that is with 3i with Kenneth. I'm just waiting on hearing back the date for that. There is another dinner that's happening on the Wednesday evening with Jason, but we've got a spread of people that 3 people can go. And I think that's probably, if 3i happens that night, I'll go with you and Andrew to that. to meet with Kenneth, and Peter, Teresa and Zach can go to the Jason one, or vice versa, it doesn't matter, we can work it out. So those are basically nearly done, so I think this would be able to be swiped off and completed because Sea Asia is of course next week.
Did you bring AmPlus into that meeting schedule?
I need to do that. I haven't had a chance to get a hold of Sharon. I've left a message, but I'll try again today. I was going to arrange that for the Friday because he's got the Friday as well.
Peter
So,
had.
yeah, Peter's in town on Friday as well because it's only through. Yeah.
Yep, agree with that.
So that's what we're doing for the AmPlus one. And Indonesian, well, the regulatory type approval, that's ongoing. I need to speak with Winston this morning about getting those. Okay. Scheduled training, well that's been discussed we actually, Zach, Teresa and I talked about this. We feel that it's really going to be, and even with Peter, not scheduled until at least the 1st or the 2nd week of May. And the idea is probably not to do like one seminar because we don't feel that would really work. It's going to have to be a case of like we'll do one in Singapore, one is, and there maybe have to be a couple of other ones around the region. Because really the people training are not going to come to the seminar, somewhere for a couple of days. But if we wanted to do something for the dealers themselves, that's a different story. But for training, I think for MAT 2.0, it has to be done sort of, on site to get the most out of it. Well, that's what we've decided. The update request with AmPlus, again, that was going to be part of the discussion when we go to see them, so that's going to be ongoing as well. I have provided Winston a cable that one of the local partners in Singapore made to have a look at it and see what they think of that. We've got pricing for those as well. But again, of course, if AmPlus is prepared or we can get everything done by AmPlus, it makes more sense. TS type installation for the DKP will then go when that shipped out. We were waiting for the consoles to go to piece of over stuff at the same time.
Any dates for that?
Well, I just need to speak with Winston. The kit's all there now, so I've got the shipper's advice on where Handover says to ship to. So we might be able to get that out today. But of course, the other issue, and something else I want to bring up, is the hardware ones that we're experiencing. I was about to send a mail out to Teresa, Joseph, Kavinia, and Darren. We can't do any more DSAS Mark 2s at the moment. So don't sort of commit to anything. We can look at taking orders, I guess, but refer all those sort of back to me, I guess, at the stage because we're not allowed to ship. There's been a hold for all that. But we've also got these issues with the DMR. I had a call from Peter this morning. I need an update on that. MBS had a shipment of 10 DMRs. They tried to install 3 of them. They didn't fire up at all. They're possibly looking to provide one more to the customer to try and install this weekend. But ideally, I think there's an RMA out for this, and we may just want to return that batch and get 10 more back.
What are those DMRs, Jane? Are they just transferred?
They're 800 Ds.
Are they in kits or just standard transceivers?
They were just a straight white stock configured with our one script formats.
Could you dig a little bit more on the failures there and why? Because have what sort of failures we've had on those before? That's kind of news to me.
Yeah, well, this is, we haven't had off the past. I don't know, Winston, have you got anything? I don't know. This is the first one I've seen for the years for a while. Right, 4.38 months ago.
Well, these units have been returned back to their Singapore office. They were supposed to ship from MBS to their Indonesia customer, and they claim they already powered on in a far away location, but they still unable to receive any precision report. I mean, so far, I never heard any of the issues for the whole batch of the DMR. So I have been trying to get MBS to find a site to power on, but they're not willing to going to do it in Singapore because they couldn't find a site in Singapore to power up these devices for further testing. So what I've done is I try to align with the supplier to get an RMA testing. But the problem I have is if we sending 10 DMR 800D to back to the supplier for testing, the problem we have is if they find any of one of the DMR 800D, if they find there is no fault on that, there will be a RMA testing fee going to be charged back, which is $150. So I'm not quite really sure if this is ideal,
well, once it back QA, and the issue there, it sounds to be NPS. Shane, what's the background on those guys?
Well, look, they've had, they've got over 500 terminals out there with us. And yeah, look, they've done things differently in the past, but we've never experienced problems like this. So, you might say it could be an installation down to the guys, but, it's hard to say. It's not rocket science to put a DMR on something. And these guys have got still old ones, and I'm talking old squared 200s, Cs or whatever they are, that are still working. So I don't know, if this is strange that they've had a batch go out to these guys, but it's not just MBS. If we move on to the DSAS Mark IIs, WH Brennan have got a customer as well that is just starting the upgrade process, and now they've got the Duff DSAS.
Yeah, well, keeping the DSAS Mark II separate, I think the issue is an RMA policy that if we return a unit to, say, the OEM and there is no fault on it, then those charges have got to be passed on to the dealer.
We can go back to Peter today and say that we're quite happy to take maybe one or two if they're willing to take that charge, because if there is nothing wrong with it, if they're confident in the way it's been installed and everything else, there should be no problem.
Yeah. Just make it clear, if the OEM doesn't find anything wrong with the unit, there will be a charge we passed on to the dealer.
So can you reply to Peter this morning, Vincent?
Yes, of course. I mean, I did speak with him on the phone earlier on this Monday, but he still insists to return 10 of them. So
well, that was the idea of it. But you can say to him what you want to do. I believe after I spoke to him midweek, the customer's willing to try and put another one on possibly over the weekend. So why don't they give us one that they did install and didn't work, and they'll try that one. It's the law of averages really, to see if it works. If it doesn't, they may be willing to take another one in, and then So it's up to them if they're willing to pay the 150 if they're deemed to be working by the OEM.
So that's the things I'm going to do.
Yeah. Okay. But now, when you look at the DSAS Mark II as well, this is we've got Brennan's not very happy about this, and so either it's a customer. It doesn't look good. I know we've stopped it, but I think these have got to take priority with whoever's looking after this support team.
Well, the DSAS Mark II issue is taking priority. At the senior management meeting the other day, myself and John voted to stop shipments until we had a clear idea what was going on and what was the solution. There was absolutely 0 point senior unit out that could fail during over the air firmware upgrade. So that's why they don't have enough information from Hexagon. They also need more information from Skywave. We think that information should be back within the next 5 days, at which point we'll have a definitive reason and solution. So at the moment you can process orders, but we're not shipping anything until we know what the problem is and what to fix it.
So currently these people that are experienced problems that they've found, that means we can't actually, Winston can't, or whoever can't get onto that and try and fix it.
Well, you've seen the communication from the guys in the UK. There's a firmware issue related to Skywave, and it could be a potential battery charge report issue related to Hexagon. The second one we don't know enough about, but evidently 5 units that have failed due to the battery board issue, right? So when they went through the over-the-air upgrade, there wasn't enough power on the unit to maintain the firmware upgrade. Hence, they then bricked themselves, which is they locked up during the firmware upgrade and had to be RMA. So that is a situation we have to avoid all clients.
So Ian, what's the company policy for the indirect channel? For those guys, those distributors, they already have stock for these problematic DSS Mark
Not
II units.
installation.
Sorry?
They should not be going out for installation until there should be a stock on all installations and further shipments until we come back and advise a process.
So what, is Peter going or someone going to release something, or we have to do this independently?
Well, you saw from the communication they're in discussion now with both Exton and Skywave and preparing announcements for the users and our dealers. So let's wait till Monday and get an update for that. But if you have a dealer in the DSS Mark II, you have a potential RMA.
Yep. So no action seems to be taken at this point, right? We need to wait until Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd wait until Monday. We should have some more clarity, but we're not shipping anything, that's for sure.
Okay.
We still have 4 DSS MK1 left in the Hong Kong office.
Israel got 2 already, so you still have 2 left.
We still have 2 left. So if Shane, if any of your customers need express shipment, we still have DSS Mark 1.
That's only finished requirements, right?
Yeah. Because we got a special price on that?
Yes, we do.
That would be
What
an
is it?
option for me.
I think it's 900 something.
That's what, yeah, okay. Alright. That was all for me.
Next.
Yeah, Richard?
Just trying to work out where I am in this list. Fisheries clients, I haven't done too many other things going on at the moment. Zaf, the global stars that got returned from INM, you probably need to have a chat with them about what they want to do, because they're basically not warrantable anyway. I'm glad we got those ones back, because it demonstrates a very real issue. But you need to have a chat with them about what they want to do about those units, because they got the wrong batteries in them, therefore they won't work.
Okay.
Wollongong Internet, we've been chasing Optus every week. We don't seem to get much out of them. I'm going to try and make some phone calls next week. Our hands are tied on that one, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do other than chase them. Software engineer, that's with senior management at the moment. And CMS metrics we've discussed, we'll try and do that this afternoon. I think that was it for me.
Okay. Anything else?
Sorry, we've got two lines on there for the developer. So, Jess, can you take one of those off?
Okay.
Line 9, just delete it.
Okay.
And the Hong Kong visit will probably be June, I would think.
Okay, June.
Teresa, I sent you an email just before. I understand a lot of clients are complaining about support out of Panama. Have you picked up anything on that?
Darren, you got a complaint from Peter?
Once from Peter MBS that when they call the Panama urgent case, and it didn't get passed on to the tech team. So she just didn't take the message and just said couldn't help. But that's only one thing. So
if you read that email, it shows the Panama team don't appear to have industry knowledge, or product knowledge.
but they should
So maybe
they should be
taking
taking.
points.
But that is the only tier 2 support. They should able to handle it. I believe their case has been run through the tier 2 support training with the Parliament team. They have the capability to handle the tier 2 support. So I saw a couple of the cases. They just pick up the emails, but they don't handle, just assign the case to our team. So actually, they can do just straight away instead of waiting us come back to handle it. So it's a bit delayed to respond.
Yeah, Teresa, I suspect, and I kind of went over that, did some training with them, but with this sort of thing, giving a team a week's training and then saying goodbye is problematic. Somebody really needs to stay with that team and sort of guide them for some time on how to do things. So I suspect that may be part of it.
Yeah, that's right. So when I saw the problems, I'm not just take over the case. I also send an email to them, so probably you can do it so that in future instead just assign the case. So yeah, you're right. So we do need to give some time to to familiarize the commercial industry, the support staff, and give the time to them. But it also give the instruction to them how to handle the support.
Okay, well, maybe put that on one of your bullet points that you raised with Peter and Andrew when they come through.
Yeah.
Okay, any other business, guys?
No.
Shane,
Yeah.
have you had any updates on the IFA trial?
No, I haven't had anything back from Mandaway on that. He hasn't come back or answered that email of yours either. All I got was that information, that shipping the item. I'll follow up. Yeah, I'll follow up.
We do expect to get the IMO letter from DGST next week.
Really?
Yeah, but just that under your hat. There's been a whole series of meetings with EDI and DGST this week. And there's a verbal agreement to work with EDI between the directors of both organisations. We do know CLS is trying to spoil the game with some political interference, but hopefully we're going to see a letter out next week, but we do not pass it on to any other people.
Got it. Okay. Good. Great stuff. That would be great. That would sort of, I'll put everyone at bay then.
Yeah, so I'm monitoring that one fairly closely. EDI will probably come up to Singapore on the 10th, and we may try and hook up with Andrew during that time.
Okay, yeah, no, that should be fine. We can, like I said, I'll send this sort of schedule out so we can work around that anyway. But I've given them time at the show, sort of in the afternoon later. So if there's anyone we can say to meet at the stand or there at least at the show.
Okay, and we're all clear on the gallery and bookings and everything like that, just that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was saying earlier I've arranged for pickup after the show, not taking to the show. I thought that was a better because we obviously struggled at the last time. Yeah. So the idea is a pickup around sort of 15 minutes after the stay out front. So it's pretty standard.
Okay, I'm in late Monday.
Yeah, okay, well what we've done is I get in sort of 6 Monday morning and sort of check straight in, and then I'm going to go and start setting up. Teresa will be in about lunchtime-ish, but she's got a meeting in the afternoon as well. So it should be okay. The banner system's pretty straightforward, so I'm pretty sure we'll be all right.
Cool. Anything else in the Hong Kong office?
Just a quick one, Shane's a quick update. You know, I'm not sure whether the weather news guy emails back to you, but he replied back to me, just translator. You know, he already passed the message to the senior management. You know, about Andrew's and John's visits. But now it's really up to them whether they want to see them. So I'm not sure whether the Japanese guy want to see Andrew Peters, but you know, we'll wait for the response.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Just on that, I did suggest Andrew that they should let Goro know that.
Yeah. It's already set up. They are going to do a dinner with Goro on Friday.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we clear?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you in Singapore next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Alrighty, thanks. Cheers.
Yeah.
Gallery 會有架車接免費嘅 pick up 你哋。
我哋咁多個人，
嗯，
但係嗰架車
9人，9人。
九人車，
係啊，同埋你哋都未必一
van 嚟
定
㗎，
mini coach 㗎
我
喎。
mini coach，
但係你哋都未必個個會喺，即係咁啱會喺
我諗
齊人會。
星期三都得，
不過佢日日都會9人。
星期二得我 Shane 同埋阿 Ian，跟住到星期三就應該係全部人。
佢哋即係準備咗9人，跟住就話喺個唔知咩 pick up point 阿 Shane 揀嘅，
總之都係
gallery 安排。
出邊㗎啦，
乜佢會喺Marina Bay 即係 MBS 接你哋翻酒店咯。因為 Joshua 話佢送俾我哋嘅呢個 service 係1程嘅啫咁。跟住阿 Shane 就話1程嘅話，我唔要由酒店去MBS， 我寧願由 MBS 翻酒店嗰程。佢話酒店去 MBS， 佢話嗰程都簡單啫，唔使咯。佢酒店條車去好遠啫，唔使啦。佢話我要1程嘅話，我寧願由 MBS 翻去酒店。係啊，係咪啊？咪而家都係咯，但係驚我要俾阿 J 個 contact， 因為個酒店同我講嘅喺 MBS 嗰度買車，即係唔可以停車啊。係啊，佢話都驚有個 concern， 即係打唔掂。係啊，係啦，翻酒店就佢哋咯。唔係，所以係所以我就係啊，跟住話邊1程咁啊，咁我要翻去啦。咁跟住同我同佢哋講，睇我 book 幾多房，好多人應該俾你9個字嘅，而家分分鐘每日都2程都得3個。即係盡量得多幾個人，唔好嘥咗佢個出咯。係咯，即係有總好過冇嘅。你頓個擺落去嘅，可能冇乜。你嗰個 Indian 嗰個你記住傳翻俾我得。係啊，我俾你睇啲槍，跟住你仲要傳翻俾我簽埋名，同埋寫11人。